Blue Angel pilots are US Navy and Marine Corps aviators who've logged at least 1,200 hours flying a tactical jet fighter and have experience taking off and landing on aircraft carriers. This flying is not for the faint-hearted. Jets launch from the carrier deck at 240 kilometers an hour and are airborne in 3 seconds. Pilots compare it to being shot out of a cannon.
Every time we take off a carrier is the ride of your life. I mean, it's probably the best part of the flight. The catapult shot is a pretty intense shot. I mean, it wakes you up. As soon as you get to the end of that stroke, you know you're flying. Landing aboard the ship is probably the most miserable experience that you can do. Right at 15 seconds, you're at 3/4 of a mile. And so it's like 15 seconds of sheer terror as you're trying to put that thing on the carrier deck.
Blue Angel jets are specially modified F-18 combat planes. Flying them requires pilots to make some important adjustments.
You know, in the fleet, you fly in that gray airplane, it's configured for combat. So there's external fuel tanks, there's pylons that you can put weapons on the wing stations. It's heavy and it's got a lot of drag. We fly this jet out here, it's got shiny blue paint on it. They're really old Hornets, so they're really light. They have nothing hanging on the wings. There's no external fuel tanks, there's no pylons, there's no weapons. It's slick. So it's fast, it's light, it's slippery. So that's the big difference.
In Pensacola, Florida, the newbies are getting their first taste of the fast and light blue jets.
300.
Now's the time they can try maneuvers they rarely attempt with a fleet jet.
Ready. And easy left. 4.8 easy. Oh! That's Rosa 150 left. Nice. Going good in the air. Thanks, Bo. Wow, he's got his own. Rolling out, heading 072, 300.
The Hornet has been the Blue Angels aircraft since 1986.
370.
While fast, it's also known for its slow speed handling. This makes for superior control, vital to a pilot in combat, or precision flying in tight formation. But control is only part of what new Blue Angel pilots must learn.
You're going out there for 38, 39 minutes, and you know, you're doing some very challenging things with the airplanes, and there's a lot at stake. And you know, you've done a lot of things in your career and all that, and you think you can fly the airplane, but this is different. The level of precision and all that is different. The intensity is different, the maneuvers are different, it's all different.
Little power, ease it out.
For the new recruits, the rigors of the display season still lie ahead. Now, they're happy just to savor the moment.
First day to go flying in a blue airplane, and I'm really excited. It performs, it's unreal. I was the last guy to take off, and I was the first guy to land because I was out of gas. I just couldn't get it out of afterburner, it seems like, so thanks a lot.
Talk to you later, sir. Well, I think they had to grease Knuckles' shoulders to get him in the cockpit, but...
I believe it, here he comes.
I tell you, it's a workout. That solo flight, that's a workout. But it was a blast. I'd do it again anytime.
Hey, Knuckles. Sir, welcome back. That was awesome. How'd it go? Oh, it's awesome. Good deal? Yes, sir. Old Shorn brought the heat, man, coming into the break.
I don't think I'm ever going to forget the first day that I got to fly a Blue Angel jet, but I think it'll really sink in once I actually start flying the demos and practicing with them. Right now, I mean, it's just incredible feeling to be a part of the team, just in the capacity of watching and learning. But I'm, really looking forward to getting comfortable.
Getting comfortable in a Blue Angel jet and making it look easy takes many long hours of practice. It also takes the squadron far from Florida, to a spot with plenty of sun and sand, but very little water. El Centro is a 2-hour drive east of San Diego into the California desert. Less than 16 kilometers from the Mexican border, it's known for 330 days of sun each year. From early January to mid-March, this is the Blue Angels' ultimate getaway, their winter training home.
The official name for this is the Restricted Area 2910, and we also call it the Shade Tree Bomb Range. We're about 7 miles from what's called the conventional bullseye, where a lot of naval aviators will come out to El Centro. They'll fly out to this range and drop ordnance. It's an ideal area for us because it's a flat area, and we get the range all to ourselves. We use a 5-mile radius up to 15,000 feet, so we use that cylinder of airspace to do the practice demonstration. And that's the same size of an airspace that we'll have when we do a show as well.
Once at El Centro, the training regime kicks in for all new Blue Angel pilots. For 10 weeks, each day will be a carbon copy of the previous one, beginning with the pre-dawn briefing.
Yeah, so instead of going all the way to 18 degrees.
Major Shipley and Lieutenant Saccomondo will learn the basics of precision flying from Boss Bartlett and Lieutenant Commander David Varner. Varner is a second-year pilot who flies the number 4 plane and serves as the squadron's training officer.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Admin. Sir Boss, we'll brief our morning go in Shade Tree. Fire ready to go. All right, back out to Shade Tree. It's Friday the 9th. The weather is clear skies. Forecast to remain the same. The altimeter is 3020, corrected to 2993. Surface winds are calm at 3,000 feet, 070 at 12 knots. At 6,000 feet, 090 at 8. At 9,000 feet, 070 at 9. They got clear skies all day. Clean bingo to you, Miss 2.
During the briefing, Boss Bartlett reviews the maneuvers they'll practice together. It involves a rehearsal of the upcoming flight, where the pilots visualize what they'll see and hear as they execute each maneuver.
We'll be cleared for takeoff with a winds check. Check a park and break off. Maneuver. Diamond burner go low transition, right turn up.
Sure. Locals. Affirmative. Diamond F 016, let's go.
Let's run them up. Coming left. Coming further left. A little pull. Flaps auto. Everything that we do in the airplane, I say it first. Smoke on, pull. So they listen not only to what I say, but how I say it. Smoke off, push.
Tease it out.
In the brief, we will sit there and go through all the communications every time. A little pull. So they can just have it beat into their heads that this is the way Boss Bartlett says, coming left, or says, a little pull. Take it in. Smoke on, pull. In the airplane, if instead of saying, a little pull, I say, a little pull, that's different. And they will hear that intonation and go, oh, I guess we're going to get on it a little bit because we might be a little steep or a little low. We're in a right turn for the Diamond Dirty Clean Flat Pass with afterburner drills.
Sure. Locals. Affirmative.
Pop, pop. Easing power, easing more power. Just to take that time and spend that amount of brain power executing the flight, closing your eyes, moving your fingers through all the appropriate controls, simulating the pulls, the power additions, all that stuff, it's invaluable. I don't think you could do this if you didn't do that every single day. There's differences in weather, winds, visibility, your mood. All those things are challenges that you try to manage so that you can fly the same exact profiles day in and day out at a different show site every weekend. That's hard. Easy brakes, brakes. Shutdown, helmets dismount, reverse walk back, NATOPS.
Sir Boss, emergency brakes.
Brake release, emergency brake handle, pull to D10, brake supply.
Part of pretty good.
All right, Diamond Solos, Comcar Tower, Burt, narrator. Let's have a good one.
With flight rehearsal done, it's now time for the real thing. While being isolated in the desert might seem a hardship, for the pilots, it's actually a benefit.
And El Centro's where the team comes together. You go out there with 6 guys who have really, only a few of them have flown together. For 3 of the 6, this is all so foreign and so different from any flying they've done in the fleet before, it takes a lot of retraining to get them up to speed.
The El Centro training covers all aspects of the show, including the highly choreographed walk down to the jets.
You got 4, boss. Boss. Squadron, I-10, hut. Forward, march. Up, pop, 2. See ya, boss.
We can do our walk down, turn the corner, go up the ladder, sit down, put my helmet on, put my gear on, start the engines, and in 4 minutes and 4 seconds, we're out of the line and we're off to the runway. That's a good, tight system. Go. Get out there. You know, show must go on.
And the show goes on in 35 different sites, 35 weekends a year. The team practices the demonstration, or demo as it's known, repeatedly during winter training, until it's as close to perfect as it can be.
Boss set up 70%, let it roll. Solo is ready to switch 16, boss. Boss switching 16, calm to.
The first few days at El Centro are devoted to working on some of the Blue Angel signature show formations, particularly the Diamond. Here the jets fly 600 kilometers an hour, separated by only 4 meters. Eventually, as the season progresses, the pilots will narrow the gap to less than half a meter.
Up on the 4th, ready now.
In some maneuvers, wingtips will overlap or hover just above another jet's canopy.
Adding a little power.
Precision flying in tight formation takes confidence, built on weeks of practice. These weeks also build something else.
You got to trust each other. It's a trust within the 4 of us in that Diamond right now. We're working together and we're flying not super close yet, but we're going to get close. We're practicing to get to that close position. On days like today, you see this wind, we call it texture, and you're out there, you know, in airlines, you'll be flying around, all of a sudden the plane bounces around. Well, we feel that same thing flying with 4 jets together, 3 other of your buddies flying around, and they're trusting that you're focused.
Ready now.
Focused, yes, but not on the airspace ahead. Formation flying involves a lead jet, Boss Bartlett in Blue Angel number 1, followed by wingmen trailing behind and below him.
Go down, dive in, adding power.
To maintain correct position in the formation and during each maneuver, the wingmen fly by looking at a spot located on the jet next to them. That spot is often a marking, like a number or a letter, on the fuselage. The Blue Angels call it flying paint. Early in the training, keeping perfect alignment is difficult. If they can't maintain their position in the formation for safety reasons, pilots must move away, and fast.
It's their responsibility, depending on where they are, to call clear, because they're flying like this. They're flying paint on the other airplane. Something happens, the airplane yaws, or they can't maintain position, they're at full throttle, they realize I got a problem. He's going to do his best to safely remove himself from the problem, doing whatever he can to not create a conflict with the guy who's next to him. Bottom line is, exercise common sense. Think if there's somebody outside of you in the formation, and how you're going to get out of there without impacting literally somebody else.
You know, it's respect for everybody else around you. If you bobble, you clear. Obviously, Knuckles and I are clearing quite a bit right now because we're not always in the right spot. It's not fun to be the only guy to clear, and you look up there and I see Knuckles back down there in position, and I'm sure it's the same way if he's up there in clear airspace and he sees me down in position, but you know, it's kind of nice when we see each other over Boss, you know, waving at each other.
It gets frustrating because you're just, you know, darn it, I want to be the guy they look at me and say, oh, he's locked on, he's got it. If I was hearing, you know, Knuckles clear constantly, they wonder what's going on over there. And I know they understand. They're not putting that pressure on me at all. It's more self-induced. I want to build that trust and confidence in me. I want them to look at me and say, I know Knuckles got it. I know he's going to be strong in there. And I can trust he's going to be in his position and work hard.
Dave Varner, as the slot pilot in jet number 4, trails behind, keeping a close eye on the new pilot's progress. But he's not the only one. On the ground below, at the communications trailer, a camera crew records the entire practice. In charge of this team is Lieutenant Gary Mullen, the squadron's flight surgeon, who's also responsible for reviewing flight performances.
The flight surgeon's primary job is to grade the maneuvers with a shorthand as the video crew is filming it. And we also send that card with the videotape back to the training room for the debrief. And they can look at our comments, talk about what varmint saw, and then what we saw from the ground.
That time in dirty loop, a little right. A little. Oh. A little more. Oh. Right left, echelon roll, a little right. Smoke up. Wings are set. Don't have it.
A lot of what we look for is symmetry. So one of the big things we look for are wing sets between the wingman on the left and the wingman on the right. And we look for spacing, obviously, if one is too close to boss or too far away.
For new pilots like Saccomondo and Shipley, learning to fly in formation is no small challenge. Add to this the detailed scrutiny of Lieutenant Mullen on the ground, and the experience can be overwhelming.
There's a lot of information. A good analogy to use is it's kind of like trying to take a drink of water out of a fire hose. There's a tremendous amount of data that's being put out in each maneuver, and our job is to capture as much of it as we can to improve the training and to improve the quality of the show for the upcoming season. So I think that as difficult as it is to receive criticism, one of the things that you'll learn on this team is how to take criticism and how to improve yourself, because you simply couldn't succeed here if you didn't do that.
Back on the ground, the pilots fill out maintenance reports on their aircraft. The newbies anxiously wait for their post-flight debrief. Criticism can be harsh, but all new pilots have to learn from their mistakes if they're to succeed as a Blue Angel. During the 10 weeks training at El Centro, new Blue Angels pilot Justin Otto has his own very particular mission. Though an accomplished pilot, this season he'll not be flying on airshow days. That comes next year. Instead, as the display or show commentator, he's the public voice of the team. His role involves memorizing the script for the entire 40-minute program, learning the rhythmic flow and inflection that keeps the crowd informed and engaged.
Now, directly before you, the Blue Angel Delta formation. Directly before you, the Blue Angel Delta formation.
At less than 120 miles per hour. The state-of-the-art flight controls provide slow-speed handling second to none.
Like newbies Shipley and Saccomondo, Otto has to find a way of learning and perfecting a new and complex routine.
Over the top, he's floating the formation to set them up directly over show center point.
It's the post-practice flight debriefing, and it's where the pilots will hear what they did and didn't get right. Pilots evaluate their own performance first, citing even the smallest mistake and penalizing themselves for it. This voluntary self-criticism is known as taking a safety.
Get a kick out of that.
Squadron members believe it creates trust and, while sometimes difficult, helps reinforce a mindset that seeks perfection. Everyone, even the squadron commander, takes part.
Take a safety, low brake, cross first one.
I guess the best analogy would be it's like a mulligan. It's your opportunity to come into the debrief and say, look, these are the things that I didn't do right today. And that is giving you the opportunity to fess up, identify your own shortfalls, and say, I'm going to fix these for tomorrow.
So I will fix my safeties. Glad to be here. Sean?
Yes, sir, boss. My specific goal was the diamond roll. Safeties, I'll take safety.
The last thing you say is, I'll fix my safeties. I'm glad to be here. I may just had a really tough flight and be really frustrated, but I'm still in the Blue Angels, and I am glad to be here.
I'll work on this. Glad to be here.
Knuckles?
Sure, boss. Coming back here to the field, take a safety for being 250 after the gear's down. Everyone's here to support you. Everyone wants you to do well, and you're going to have those bad days. The guys who are teaching us, they've been through it the year before. They understand completely.
Take a safety for being 60 feet high.
But at the same time, it's such a strong demand for you to perform and for you to study and for you to get this darn thing down that you can't slack off.
I'll take a safety for 7.6 in the pub. Fix my safeties. Glad to be here, boss.
Okay, roll 'em.
Following the safeties and self-evaluation, comes a more objective and often painful review with the aid of videotape. Every detail of the practice is examined, frame by frame if necessary.
A lot better in the burner, and I think as your second pop just wasn't enough. Better than yesterday.
As the slot pilot, flying the number 4 jet behind Boss Bartlett and the 2 wingmen, it's Dave Varner's job to point out mistakes or deviation from correct procedure. If he's unsparing in his critique, it's because he has to be. While precision flying is for the pleasure of those watching on the ground, for those in the air, it's serious business.
So you're overthinking it. We've talked about, I can't teach you the magic position from where your stick needs to be and your throttle needs to be, and how to get there and go on the call. You can only do that by going on the call. And we're not looking at any paint here whatsoever. You're trying to find the magic spot and how to get there. You can't do it, okay? That's why we have Boss. That's why he learns all this comm. So he can say it the same way every time, do the same thing with his jet, and we can go on his call, okay? So here you're getting a little frustrated, which you shouldn't be. We're talking, breathe on it a little bit. You've got to continue the drive and roll. It's not just rudder throughout this roll.
Varner takes his job seriously, but being a newbie just last year, he also recalls what Shipley and Saccomondo are going through.
I go from number 3 pilot, knucklehead to know-it-all in a handshake, really, at the end of last year, okay?
Because your priorities aren't where they should be here.
So you come into this training job, you know all of the procedures, okay? But I'd never been in the slot. I'd never seen it from that perspective. So there's a little apprehension as far as, hey, how am I going to teach these guys? What's my teaching style going to be?
It's all business, and it's very serious because it involves, each other's lives. You got to pay attention, and one bad mistake could take all the planes out. So when we're in that debrief, the whole mindset is, he's talking, explain to us, we'll sit there and listen.
What do you see on your clear there, Sean, as far as why you cleared?
Bobbled to the board ship. It's really a never-ending process. Debrief every day, every practice. We're never completely going to reach that level of perfection, but we've got plenty of time to work on this. I just wish it would go a little faster so I can be good at this.
You'll get there, but only if you're patient and you can take a beating and you can come back the next day and say, I'm glad to be here, I'm going to do a better job tomorrow. Because it's hard, because you're not very good at it for a long time. And it'll only be towards the end of the season when we can get through the whole demo where we're all synced up and flying nice and tight and everybody's where they're supposed to be all the time. The training program works, and that's why we're out here. And we keep doing the procedures that got us here, being hard on ourselves in the debrief, properly mentally preparing the night before. Whatever happened yesterday, it's yesterday. Leave it in the past, come on in, be ready to brief a new flight, and go out there with the confidence that you can do this and just fly like Blue Angels.
All right, so we got a 10:45 brief. We got some time, boss. Yeah. We'll go 11:05. Ready, break?
I'm trusting the training of the guys before me, Varmint and Boss, just sharing what their thoughts are, experiences from last year, and just hoping that, hey, they're going to show me and find out where my problems are, the difficulties I've been having, so I can work on it. I think I can figure it out. It's just a matter of when, and it is a concern, but I'm just doing the best I can and trust that it'll come through.
The other 2 members of the squadron, the solo pilots, are in a nearby briefing room. Lieutenant Craig Olson is learning the solo maneuvers from Lieutenant Commander Dan Martin.
So there's our first sequence. Head on 360 through Fortis. We'll terminate that.
Martin's filling in for this year's lead solo, Major Len Anderson, who's due back from medical leave within a week.
We'll get the smoke off crossing the show line, and now you're just waiting for the ready hit it. Ready, hit it.
Olson's in his first year as a pilot, after serving last year as the show's commentator. For him, flying solo as a Blue Angel couldn't be any better.
I think from a pilot standpoint, we all kind of dream of doing the solo flying because it's the exciting, again, maximum performance, where you're pulling a lot of G's, you're going fast, it's kind of the crowd pleaser. But it's really not up to us when we join the team what you're going to fly, whether it's Diamond or solo. And of course, we're all happy to get either one because you want to be a Blue Angel, which is the big picture part of it. But certainly when I found out I was going to be one of the solo pilots, I was ecstatic.
Alternating routines with the 4 Diamond pilots, the solo pilots provide crowds with some high energy, adrenaline-pumping moments. But as Major Anderson explains, their work involves coordinating their maneuvers with the Diamond pilots.
It's a very difficult problem for us to time our maneuvers to happen within what the Diamond is performing. Diamond flies a very distinct track through the sky. They don't change anything. You've seen how close they fly together. They can't adjust for timing or get out of the solo's way. So we are always staying out of boss's field of view. We're trying to keep his airspace clear.
Yug, cancel, roll, pause, pull. Now get on it, okay? And make that turn a level turn.
We start these maneuvers very high and very wide from each other, and we spent the last 3 months whittling that away, dropping the altitudes down, and we'll continue to drop those down throughout the year. But the maneuvers get tighter and closer, much like the Diamond. When they're flying, our maneuvers opposing will get closer as well.
Remember the cadence. Dino's in, Merlin's in, go. Dino's in, Merlin's in, go. Full wings level on the out, okay? Roll, bams, hit the stop, and stop it.
We run through about 30 or 35 minutes of pretty solid maneuvering. High G's, negative G's, upside down. 2 of us work together almost separately through the entire winter training to get our portion of the show ready to go. And then we kind of get everything together, the team comes together towards the end, and we get all 6 airplanes flying together, and it's great.
Yeah.
While Lieutenant Commander Craig Olson realized his dream in becoming a Blue Angel solo pilot, that doesn't make the winter training any less grueling.
Long, demanding days, but the learning curve is steep, and there's a reason we come out here. Where we brief, then we fly, we come back and debrief, grab a 5-minute lunch, and then step into our next brief and fly, and then on some days we'll even do that 3 times. So
Forward, march.
it's kind of what we call Groundhog's Day because every day is very similar.
And salute. Up, 2. See ya, Merlin. See you, Dino.
Flying a perfect air show is the goal of the 6 pilots. But keeping the jets airborne is a job belonging to a group of perfectionists on the ground. The maintenance team members, also known as Blue Angels. Among these are some 80 enlisted personnel and 8 officers who handle everything related to the aircraft. Sergeant Darrell Carson is one of the 14 crew chiefs responsible for knowing the Hornet inside out and doing all he can to keep this now aging bird flying. Today, he's going over a new addition, a retired FA-18 that will replace one of the current jets in the squadron.
It doesn't really make sense to get brand new jets and then fly them around just for demonstration purposes. These jets are designed to go drop bombs on targets. After they fulfill that obligation, they send them to us. Right now it's going through a small transition, going from what we would call a fleet jet, a gray jet, to Blue Angel jet. Right in here, behind this panel, would normally be the 20mm cannon that we use for war fighting, obviously, to kill bad guys. We take that cannon out and we put a 90-gallon smoke tank inside. These are our engines, GE F404 engines. Max output is 16,000 pounds of thrust per engine. So we have 2 in the F-18, obviously, so it puts out approximately 32,000 pounds of thrust in the aircraft. The aircraft by itself, stripped down, weighs approximately 24,500 pounds. So in theory, the jet can take off, go vertical, and keep climbing because of both engines right here. This jet will go away and be gone for a couple months. They actually do a couple more modifications, and they have to check to be sure that the airframe life is good to go on it. But once they leave here, they go to a boneyard, or they'll go to, for spare parts, they'll go to a schoolhouse where kids coming in the Navy and Marine Corps learn how to work on F-18s, or they'll go to display, what we call putting them on a stick.
In El Centro, these retired jets on sticks are just about the only thing not moving. For pilots, maintenance crew, and working aircraft, life here is constant motion, day after day. It's 3 weeks into winter training, and the newbie pilots are still feeling the strain of getting up to speed. Commander Bartlett described becoming a Blue Angel as a huge gut check. Shipley and Saccomondo now know why.
We're all type A personalities, so I want to do it now and have it right. And it's humbling, but at the same time I knew it wasn't going to be easy. No one's given me this feeling, but I sense that I should be further than where I am right now. You know, I kind of wish, I feel like, man, I'm letting people down by not stepping up and getting it. We're up at 5 each morning, and I find I don't have time to, you know, if I'm called family or friends, there's really no time for that. We only have literally 10-15 minutes between debrief and the next brief, if that. You got to figure it out pretty quick.
It's very difficult. You know, Knuckles and I are both pretty tired. All night long I'm waking up, you know, just make sure my alarm clock's on, or, you know, thinking about what was the parameters for that maneuver, and I got to thumb through my instructions and look at, okay, I'm supposed to be at, you know, 60 degrees angle of bank, or, you know, whatever. It's tough, and it's just so stressful that you can't sleep straight through, you know, and then when you wake up tired every morning, you come in and fly twice, it starts to build. We're creatures of habit, and you just cannot try to change a habit pattern and expect things to go perfect.
Fatigue and stress can be the undoing of even the most committed pilot. For Shipley and Saccomondo, the training has not got any easier. But despite the physical and mental demands, each day in the air, the squadron shows improvement and a determination to uphold the standards of the squadron.
Ladies and gentlemen, your United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron represents a time-honored tradition of pride, professionalism, and excellence, spanning 92 years of naval aviation. From the right, the Blue Angels 2004.
By late February, the 2-a-day practices in El Centro are paying off. The 4-jet diamond formation is coming together and flying tighter. Len Anderson has taken up the reins as lead solo. Training also involves the 6 jets flying in the Delta formation.
Rolling out on final, they make one last check of the crosswind, one last line of correction, and adjust their power to maintain the optimum rate of descent for the proper touchdown point.
This is what it's all come down to. The completion of the training and the final demonstration of an entire routine. The Blue Angels are ready for the inaugural show. Finally, the second Saturday in March arrives, and the curtain's about to go up on the Blue Angels' first air show of the season. Boss Bartlett leads the squadron out. It's time to show the results of 10 weeks of training.
We've begun, we've done all the maneuvers, we are essentially ready for it, the performance-wise. No one wants to jinx, it's kind of like a sports team, you know, focus. Just a good feeling.
To fly a good, disciplined demo, you know, it is a milestone. You may have been up to the plate 5 times, and you know, and you're going, God, this is terrible. I'm, you know, 0 for still, and then you get your first hit. You get over that hurdle, and then it's, you know, then you stop thinking about that. Don't change anything. Just do exactly what you know, and that's what we keep developing on and building on.
Once again, the beautiful weather of the Imperial Valley provided us with the optimum conditions. to fly each of the demonstration pilots on the 120 training flights necessary prior to their first public demonstration. The Blue Angels will be performing 73 flight demonstrations this season while visiting 35 cities throughout the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada.
For two newbie pilots, it's an exciting start.
Having practiced so much, I felt a sense of, at times, I could actually relax in a flight, and it was just a sense of accomplishment. And you could see the progress because it just was much smoother. And watching my paint, it just wouldn't move, and it was kind of neat to see the world revolve around the four planes right there, and just nothing's happening between you and the boss's jet. I'm sure later on in the season it gets to the point where it's just rock solid, but from what I saw, I got glimpses of what could be, and it makes you want to strive that much more.
Like others on the team, solo pilot Craig Olsen knows a lot rides on this first air show.
You prepare all winter for flight, and then of course the rest of the season, jets are flying closer together, the maneuvers are tighter, the debriefs are less painful. I don't want to say they're not painful, but they're less painful. And we're just able to learn quicker now. And as the season goes on and we get towards the latter part of the season, it'll only get better. It's fun to see.
"38 minutes after going airborne together, the 6 Blue Angel jets land together. But the show and their mission is far from over.
And it was a thrill. It was so moving.
Along the tarmac, a line of enthusiastic fans gather. It's time for this year's squadron to meet the public and perhaps make a lasting impression on a future aviator.
You take a picture?
There you go.
You could have a really tough day in the airplane, and then you got to go to the crowd line and put your game face on and smile and shake hands with all the kids and sign things like it was the best flight you ever had. And you know what? As far as they're concerned, it was the best flight you ever had, because they can't tell. You know, you just you look solid out there, and they think it's the greatest thing.
Nice job, Joe. Thanks.
You know, you'd think signing autographs that it would get tiresome, but you get a little kid that's wearing an F-14 shirt that walks up to you and wants your autograph. I mean, it's unbelievable. No, first time?
To see the little guys, the young kids out there, and kind of look up to you and kind of think, hey, this guy's a hero to me. If they can look up to me, and if I can be an example to them, that'd mean the world to me, and I hope I have that kind of influence.
The first air show of the season is nearly over. And the new pilots have reached a milestone in becoming a Blue Angel.
I'll tell you, for me, it's just a dream come true. And I'm just worried that this is going to go by so quickly that before I know it'll be done and it's time to get off, take a suit off and never put it on again. And that's going to be a sad day, but I'm humbled just to be out here. I'm real appreciative of it.
In the next program, dealing with the effects of gravity-induced loss of consciousness, or G-LOC.
A G-LOC poses the single greatest threat to a pilot flying in our demo because ultimately it results in incapacitation and maybe even a crash.
And for one pilot, the physical strain is taking its toll.
I'm having a tough time, I'm sick. What should we do?
Tough decisions ahead for the Blue Angels.